Hi to all, welcome to understanding the Android project structure part 3. In the previous two parts we discussed how to create a project, whenever we are creating the project, the fields what we are using, and we have a overview on the entire folder structure. Now we are going to understand about each folder in depth clearly from this part onwards. So first we will start with the folder called res folder. No problem, we are covering every folder here, but as a beginner we need to start with the res folder, so we are having better understanding here. So first we will start with the resource folder. Res folder means resource folder. Under resource folder what we will do? Under resource folder only we are going to store images and icons, and this part comes under res folder. Right, under res folder we are going to store images and icons for the project. We are going to design the user interface. We are going to create a values. Those values we are going to call as the global values, and we are going to maintain entire application information and security permissions. See, based on the project requirement in the future, we are going to create some new folders also under res folder, but in this stage we are not creating any new folders under res folder. We are in the beginning stage to understand the project structure. So keep on we are doing the Android program, we will get some more clarity on the project files, no problem. But in this stage where we will get a clear knowledge, I will explain. You need not to bother about that. So let us start that. So here we have some certain rules. Under res folder already we have some folders and files, and we are going to create some new folders, and we are going to create some new files also. Suppose we are going to store the image files, we are going to create some user interface files. So remember one thing, all folders and files should have all folders and file names, they should have a lowercase file names. File names and folder names should be in lowercase. They should not having any special characters, only lowercase, and combination you can mix with the numbers and underscore dot, that's it. You should not keep any uppercase letters, and you should not keep any special characters. You need to understand that one. So now if you come into the resource folder, we'll see we have a 5 drawable folders. So we are using these drawable folders to store the images and icons what we are going to use in the project development. If you open this drawable HTTP, we have a IC launcher PNG. This is an actual image. You can open in your Windows operating system. Here it is giving some problem, it's not opening as image. So what you mean by HTTPA and MDPA, XHTTPA, double XHTTPA? Drawable HTTPA in the sense high density pixel, LDPA in the sense low density pixel, MDPA in the sense medium density pixel, XHTTPA in the sense extra high density pixel, double extra high density pixel. So what we are doing in a sense, we are taking only one image. That image we are creating in 5 different sizes. Those 5 images we are storing into these 5 drawable folders. The image name should be same, but we are creating them in a 5 sizes. Sir, what are the sizes? Just we can go to the developer.android.com, there you can check it out. So in the coming classes we are going to discuss designing application for multiple screens. There I will show you clearly how to create an image for different screen sizes. Why? Because we are not having any fixed screen size Android mobiles in the market. So we have a mobiles, phablets and tablets. That's why we need to create the image. Why? Because one image is not going to fit for all screens. That is the matter here now. That's it. You should not think like that. If you store the image in 5 drawable folders, automatically size is going to decrease or increase. That never happens. So if you want to store the image, it's very simple. Let me go to the pictures. Suppose I have some pictures here. I'm taking this and copying it, and I'm storing in this drawable folder. You'll see, paste it. So we have you'll see a3.png. If you want to open them, you can open them from here, videos. This is actually the workspace folder demo, and I can show you the image from here, I think. Right, here we are not having any video, image. Now let us see here. This is the image we stored, and previously we got this image. So we have a like that. You can open them in the workspace folder also. Unfortunately I'm unable to open from here, that's why I have opened from the workspace folder. Like that, we are going to store the image in these drawable folders, and we are going to use them in the project development. And we are coming to the next folder, layout folder. Under layout folder only we design the user interface. So whenever we are developing Android application, you need to remember we design the user interface separately and we write the Java code separately for the user interface. Suppose we want to work with the button, so first we will create a button here under layout folder, and for that button we are going to write a Java program under source folder. So we are going to access the button from the layout folder in the source folder through the references concept, that is from the gen folder. So you'll see if you open the layout folder, we are getting one XML file. Why? Because if you run this project, we'll get one screen, that is a default one screen they are providing for us. Default they are providing for us one screen in the sense there is a XML file, that means a user interface file, and there is a Java file. Both combination only will get on screen. So if you run the project, you will get a hello world output. Let me launch the emulator. We require it, that's why I am launching it. Okay, right. So under layout folder only we will design the user interface. See, if you created one XML file, see this XML file default they provided for us. So in Android we design the user interface in XML language, using XML language. You need to understand that. But to understand this user interface, you need not have a knowledge in the XML programming, that you need to understand first of all. So you'll see here we have one file, activity underscore main.xml file, and you'll see it's looking like a mobile, right? So this is the status bar we are going to call, this is the title bar, and in this white color screen only the application is running. So here this XML is going to give you one layout. You'll see white color screen. In that we are going to create the user interface like buttons, checkboxes, and all these things. So if you created one XML file, it will give you one layout. That's why we are going to call them as a XML layouts commonly. So we'll understand this XML. See, for one screen, one XML. If you want to have one more screen, we need to create one more XML file. How to create them? Simple. Right click on the layout folder and you can say new, and here you can create an XML file. So if you open this activity underscore main.xml file, here we have two tabs. One is graphical layout, another one is activity underscore main.xml. So here you can write a program to design the user interface, the XML program. After designing the user interface through this program, then you can see how it looks like in the graphical layout. Or we have an option like a drag and drop option, that is also available. But as a beginner, we need to understand both ways. Okay, and left side you will see here we have a buttons, checkboxes, and all these. We are going to call them views, or we are going to call them widgets. Widgets we are going to call them. We are going to call them as a UI elements. We are going to call UI elements views also. So in three ways we are going to call them, and we have some edit text fields and some other things. So we will understand the program first of all, then it will be very easy for us to design the user interface in the coming days. So as a beginner, I'm suggesting you need to do some changes in this stage, and later in the next coming sessions we are going to discuss the concept of types of layouts. They will understand better why we are doing these changes. But as a beginner, you need to do some small changes. That is, you'll see XML language here we are using to design the user interface. XML in essence most looks like an HTML, we know. All we are going to implement with the help of tags only, open tags and close tags. So simple. You'll see this white color screen. This has been created with the tag called layout tag. You'll see layout tag. But this layout tag is which type of tag? It's a relative layout. Like that, here we have some types of layouts. But as a beginner, you need to start with the linear layout. That's why we need to change the layout. So come to the graphical layout, right click on the layout. You need to select the option called change layout option. In the change layout option, change the layout to linear layout vertical and hit OK. And if you come to here, you'll see linear layout, it has changed to linear layout. Why I'm saying in the sense, as a beginner we need to start understanding with the linear layout, then it will be very easy. So you'll see, if you take any layout tags, they are going to create first of all the layout. You'll see the screen they are going to create. So in that, the inside the screen only we need to create a user interface like buttons, checkboxes, whatever it is. So first of all, the root tag should be created, that is a linear layout or any other type of layout. And inside the root layout only we need to create a child tags. Those child tags only text views, buttons, and etc. And here, if you see, let us start to understand this programming. If you see these two lines, XMLNS, Android XMLNS tools, these two lines we are going to call as a XML vocabulary or XML dictionary. So we should not touch these two lines. If you create any type of layout also, these two lines are mandatory in the root tag. The next tag is ID tag, and we have some other this ID property we are going to call. Actually, this is the tags, and you'll see coming to inside, these all we are going to call as a properties. These two we should have in the root tag, already we discussed, and all these are, we are going to call them as a properties or attributes. Properties or attributes we are going to call them. The properties or attributes, in a sense, if you see, we have a layout. The linear layout is created this layout. This layout is having particular height, and this layout is having particular weight, and we can give some background color and all these type of things. Those we are going to call as a properties or attributes. Simple logics here. You'll see all properties in Android, they are going to start with the prefix called Android, and you can delete these tools, it's not important here, and you can delete this ID also, that is also not important here. We will understand the ID property in the next time. And you'll see these properties, every property is going to start with the Android colon. This Android we are going to call as a prefix. That prefix is set by here, Android. If you give ABC here, all are going to start with the prefix called ABC only. Now if you see here, Android colon layout underscore width, layout underscore height, orientation, all these we are going to call as a properties. Every property is going to start with Android, and you'll see the structure of the that means the syntax rule of the properties are simple. They should start with the prefix called Android colon property name equal to, within the double quotes we need to provide the property value. Always the property value we are going to provide within double quotes only, and property names are predefined. So we'll understand what is this layout underscore width and what is this layout underscore height, and the predefined values are called match parent and match parent. Let us understand that one. To understand better, I am giving the background color for this layout. So simple, you see, writing the properties are very easy. I want to apply some background color for the layout, so I am typing B, control space, and we need to select the background property, and I am applying the color called some color, HTML color codes only we need to use. So apply this color here now. You'll see. So if you give the color for this linear layout, the entire color is applied for this layout. Now we can understand better about these layout width and height. So in this way, width and height, in the sense, simple. How much width you want to provide for this layout, how much width you want to provide for this layout, how much height you want to provide for this layout. So values they have given the match parent. If you say control space, predefined values are 3. Here fill parent and match parent both are same, and wrap content is different. See, if you see, I am giving the wrap content value instead of match parent. What happens? You'll see the layout width is occupied according to its content. The content is what? Not text view inside. You'll see inside we have a text view tag. So according to this, text view is a content for the layout. According to this content, it's wrapped the layout. That means you'll see it's occupied only this much width. That means the entire screen is this much width only. But in the application, screens cannot be like this. They should occupy entire width of the available screen. This is empty screen. We are not having any kind of user interface here. So that is a property called wrap content. If you give the fill parent or match parent both are same, you'll see it's a compatibility property. Simple. We are saying that fill parent or match parent, in the sense, occupy available width. Now you run this layout in any mobile, it's going to occupy the available width of the screen, and the height, if you provide the match parent, it's going to occupy available height of the screen. Now if you give the height also wrap content, you will see simple, the layout is going to occupy according to its content. So the screen cannot be like that. That's why this should be fill parent again or match parent. So they are going to occupy entire available width and height of the screen. Next property is orientation. Simple. We are using linear layout. Linear layout designing principle is we can align the user interface either vertically or horizontally. You can align the user interface either vertically or horizontally. So that we are providing with the property called orientation. You see control space, we have horizontal and vertical. If you we are getting defaultly vertical. So if you drag and drop the buttons, you will see they are going to align in the vertical manner. You will see from top and left sides they will align like that only. But if you change the orientation from vertical to horizontal, you will see how they are aligning in a horizontal way. So that is the orientation property. Now coming inside, just I am deleting this text view, and you'll see we are not having any views in the layout. Sorry. And now I think we need not to have the background property. Now see, just a linear layout tag that has created the layout. Next we want to create a buttons, checkboxes and all these things. Here it's very simple. You see all the tag names they are going to follow like Java naming conventions, and tag name exactly here like Java class name. You'll see, we know Java class names are going to start with the uppercase and the next word uppercase. Here also tag names are exactly like that, and all the tag names are coming to the Java classes. So we want to create a button, text view and every whatever, they are all in the same way. So here I am creating one button. If you understand how I am creating the button, remaining all things are same as how I am creating the button. So with this button creation, if you understood, you can create checkbox and remaining things also. You can do the practice like that. First of all, we need to open the tag. Whenever you open the tag, as soon as possible, you get all the views what you can create here. So we want to create a button, we need to select the button. Select it, we need to close the tag, and inside the button only we need to give the properties, or otherwise simple, you open the tag, and let us type capital B, caps lock, right. You'll see control space, button came, and you'll see if you create the button, compulsory we need to provide the width and height for the button. You'll see layout is having the height and width, buttons also they are having the height and width, checkboxes, everything whatever you create they should have the height and width, and without having the height and width we cannot create them. So this height and width we are going to call as a layout parameters, mandatory properties. So compulsory you create any view, we should give the two properties, width and height, compulsory mandatory properties. So we are going to call them in Android terminology layout params. So simply we want to give the width, so WI we selected, and width we selected, control space, we need to give the wrap content. Why? Because buttons should not occupy and available width and height of the screen. They should occupy the width according to its content. Content is the name of the button what we are giving, that is the text, and we need to give the height. Height also we are giving wrap content. Next, the button should have one name, right? Menu button, go button, home button, like that. That is we are providing with the simple. There is a text. So here we have a text property. Text, and the button is text is button. Now we'll come here. You'll see button created, and if you run this application, you'll see simple. We can see the button in the output. So I'm saying right click on the application, run as Android application. That will take some time whenever you are running applications. It will take some time. Now you'll see we have an output, button created, but if you click the button, nothing is going to happen. Why? Because we did not write the Java code. That is my concept here. We created the button. If you want to write a Java code for this button, that means if you click the button, what should happen? So we need to write a Java code. If you want to write a Java code, first we need to access this button from this layout in the source folder. So how we are going to access? Through the references. We are going to access the user interface in the Java code. So when references are going to generate for your button, when reference is going to generate for your button, simple, we need to provide the ID property. So that means ID, we know clearly in the colleges or companies we are using ID cards. Which purpose? Uniqueness. So we need to provide the ID for this button. How we are providing? We have a syntax at the date plus ID. That is the syntax. Next you need to give the ID for the button now. So suppose my button is menu button. So we are giving the IDs like this: button underscore menu. And you need to remember here what is the ID you provided here. That should be unique. And once you provided the ID, this type of ID for one button, you should not repeat the same ID in entire project. Remember that one. Why? Because that is ID. We discussed why we are getting ID cards uniqueness. Here also that's it. If you are giving the two IDs for the if you are giving the same ID for the two buttons in the Java code, whenever you are calling the button, it can call we may get the exception. Why? Because we are calling one reference only for the two buttons. Which button it should call? So it has the problem. That's why you will get an exception. That's why if you give the ID, that should not repeat in entire project. Okay. Then if you give the ID, we need to save it. It's going to generate a reference in the gen folder. From there we are calling the reference in the Java code and we are writing an action. So this is the way we create a buttons and everything. Simple. Story is remaining same. If you want to create a text view, here a text view is going to change. If you want to create a checkbox, simple, again open tag, capital C, checkbox will come. It is should have the height, and we are giving wrap content, and it should have the weight, and we are giving wrap content, and should have the text property, text check me. And if you want just a displaying purpose, you need not to give the ID. If you want to write a Java program for that checkbox, we need to give the ID, the date plus ID, check me underscore checkbox. You see checkbox created. Orientation, we have an horizontal, so you can change them into vertical. And like that you can create widgets. You'll see here we have a toggle button, text view, and all these things you can create here. Progress bar and all these things. There I said already. You see the names, the same name we are providing for the tag, and they are going to create now. You'll see checkbox. And if you want to create a radio button, simple, radio button will come here, and ID, width and height, everything is same. So you need to do the practice to create a multiple buttons, multiple checkboxes, multiple text views, and some text fields. And once you habituated to write the programming, then we can go to the drag and drop. You'll see I'm drag and dropping the radio button. Programming automatically generated. You'll see ID, layout, width and height and text the same way what we are writing now. Okay. So like this, we are going to create a user interface under layout folder in the XML files using the XML language. Thanks for watching this video. We'll meet in the next part. There you'll understand about the values folder and remaining story. Thank you for watching.